Crypto in Asia, everyone. Where this is July 23rd of 2019, another hot ass summer day out here in Korea. I don't know how it's for you guys. Guys, please go around and introduce yourselves.
I'm pretty bad at introducing myself, but I'm Koji. I do some market research and marketing, mostly in Japan and other Asian markets now. Bitcoiner.
Hey, I'm Bobby, the co-founder of CoinGecko. I'm based in Malaysia, and it's sunny and hot, and it's summer all year round here.
And I'm Cian, and I'm here to entertain all of you, internet, with my wonderful co-hosts. And I'm in Korea, and it's really hot. This is not a good time to be living in Korea.
How hot is it right now?
Yeah.
I don't know, but also the other problem is the place that I'm staying at Nons, and there's a conference heading down the hill called Biddle. So I'm climbing up and down the hill several times a day, which is not good. Okay. So the topic at hand. I think today we're gonna talk about Libra for most of the day. Let's jump right into it. What do you guys think?
What? Well, Bobby, go ahead.
I think it's interesting that Facebook is starting to launch its own cryptocurrency. So on initial thoughts, I thought it's a good move because Facebook is used by pretty much everyone in the world except people in China. There's over 2-3 billion users of Facebook. So Facebook introducing Libra and new form of cryptocurrency. It's not entirely decentralized, but it's a good thing because everyone will know about cryptocurrencies now. And it's probably a gateway towards Bitcoin. Not everyone, once they heard about Libra, they probably want something more decentralized. So people will start looking into other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. So I'm generally bullish about it. But I think the main reason why Facebook is trying to do that is kind of like competing against, trying to do a WeChat Pay strategy, but for the rest of the world. So just like how if you go to China, like everyone is pretty much a cashless society these days, paying using Alipay and WeChat Pay. Facebook is just trying to replicate it across the world and just using a cryptocurrency, a stablecoin version to do that in the world. It's interesting in the sense that it's actually they could have done the centralized route, but they chose a crypto route and they do some sort of a stablecoin, which is the Libra token, which is backed by American dollars, Japanese yen, euros, and British pound, and some government security. So that's interesting to me. And to me, it's interesting because it just, a lot of people will hear about crypto and get into Bitcoin at some point in the day. Yeah.
I generally agree that it's probably bullish for Bitcoin in the long term, but did you guys watch the Libra hearing?
Yeah, I just saw the highlights of them, like of the politicians just rooting for Bitcoin. Telling everyone how good it is.
Sort of, but there were some of them, or maybe a lot of them, were also negative on Bitcoin as well, right? So I think it's mixed, but do you guys really think it's going to launch anytime soon? Probably not anytime soon, but maybe ever is one question, right?
So Facebook might not launch, but so I've been talking to a couple crypto projects today, and usually the thing is when you're building out a virtual machine, trying to do that Web3 or open finance stuff, they usually talk about like running stuff on the EVM, and that was the only thing they focused on. But now, like today I talked to a project that's doing stuff on EVM. They're going to have a virtual machine for Move, and they're going to also have a virtual machine for Wasm. So definitely I think there is interest. Libra might not launch, but I don't know, maybe the standards that they put out might be useful.
I'm pretty sure Libra will launch, just a matter of which country will launch first. There's over 200 countries in the world. I'm pretty sure like at least one government in the world will agree to Libra launching. I guess it's not as simple as just like crypto, just launch it without getting any regulatory approval. Like almost every government, there's many governments in the world that's questioning Facebook team on their plans for Libra. So they probably they have a lot of regulatory things, compliance steps to clear this up. But it's just a matter of time, I suppose. The timeline for them that they gave to launch was 2020. So that's next year. They have at least a year to figure everything out and get it ready. So I'm pretty sure like someplace, somewhere they will launch. They probably won't do a global launch, but probably more country specific. Just don't know which country first.
Okay. Any guess? Say like, for example, countries like Korea and Japan, maybe, right? What's the general interest level for Libra in Korea?
Okay, I think this should be talked about in two things, right? Which is the first thing is the general interest level, which is like a bottom up way of gauging this, and then the second one is like a top down way of gauging this. Let me tackle the top down thing first because I want to see if it's only in Korea. In your respective country, has Facebook been going around registering the name Libra to use, or have they been engaging financial institutions?
I don't think Libra is directly being engaged with Japanese financial institutions. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know myself.
Yeah. What about you, Bobby?
Haven't heard much about it. Maybe Malaysia's too small for Facebook at this point in time.
Okay. Yeah. So in Korea, they've been doing both. So Libra is Facebook registered the name Libra so that they can, I guess they're going to go ahead and use it in Korea.
Like
and
a
then
trademark or a domain?
Like a trademark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the second thing is they've also been engaging either really big IT companies or approaching financial institutions on talk and then talking with them about like possibly them becoming like a node, a validator, the whatever you want to call it, the Libra Federation
validator,
to try to be one of that. So that's kind of what's going on the top down level. I'm sure it's happening in other countries too. It can't be just
I'm pretty sure happening in Japan as well, right? But it seems to me it's mostly so far about English-speaking countries or the US mostly, right? Because it's Silicon Valley companies. It's just Uber and all those, right? PayPal.
So. And then, so that's the top-down side. The bottom-up side is, surprisingly, after Libra was announced, I kind of realized how much Koreans don't give. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know to what extent. I realized how much Koreans don't really give a shit about decentralization.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's definitely true in Japan as well, right? So it's funny that people started talking about Libra as if this was the cryptocurrency we needed or something like that. So there's a lot of media coverage about Libra in Japan as well. And there's some negative or like skepticism, definitely, for sure, especially legally. But other than that, I feel like a lot of people have kind of high expectations. And some companies are trying to be validators now, right? So they're pretty opportunistic. So they're like, oh, can we be a validator of Libra somehow, etc. So yeah, that's kind of the Japanese community's response to that, I would say.
Yeah, Bobby, you were just smiling a moment ago. How's the response over in Malaysia?
Decentralization, yeah.
I mean, it's not really a decentralized currency, but it's also, it's partly centralized. So, I mean, I'm just waiting for things to play out. It's interesting that Facebook has gone on and registered all these trademarks in Korea. I'm just waiting to see how things go. Haven't really been in touch. Don't hear much rumors over here if there's any talks in banks, but let's see. I mean, I think the concept of it being a stable coin is very interesting. I think it would impact a lot of countries where the national currency is not strong. Like, say, for example, if you are living in Argentina, where like you have 20% inflation per year, like why would you want to hold Argentinian pesos, I think, when you can just convert them into Libra dollars and your money will probably hold better value in a longer period of time compared to Argentinian peso. I think it's going to be a strong political tool. Like, I mean, as a government leader, like you will lose a lot of power when you can't control your own currency, and it will either be very good or very bad outcome for Facebook, because then the government may just want to ban like Facebook and Libra entirely if they start losing control of their own national currencies. So, I mean, let's see how it goes. Like, they've been talking about doing a stablecoin on WhatsApp in India for a long time, but now we know the Indian government has banned cryptocurrencies entirely. So I have no idea how they're going to get that launched in India.
Probably not, right?
The idea behind Libra is interesting in the sense that they say they want to help improve, provide financial services to the unbanked, which is very noble by itself. Because if you think about it, we live in a world where there's about 7 billion people, and I think like 2-3 billion people are unbanked. When they have a smartphone, they have internet connection, but they have no access to banking, which is actually a pretty bad outcome. And if Libra could solve that, that's actually a very good net positive for humanity in general. Decentralized or not, I mean, as you said, like we talk a lot about decentralization, but most people in crypto don't really care about decentralization. Actually, most people only care about making profits in this space, which is kind of ironic, actually.
Yeah, but I definitely agree that people in general don't really care about decentralization. But at the hearing, it was pretty obvious what happens if the coin's centralized, right? Those Congress people would just say like, "Hey, get Mark Zuckerberg's ass here" or something, and like it's obvious they have someone to blame basically, and they have to go through all the scrutiny and to be compliant with everything, and it takes forever, and it has other implications like the government might try to censor certain transactions, etc. Right? So in that standpoint, I think the hearing was interesting. This is what happens if the coin has a central governance body or leader or a company.
I guess, but it's not even like a matter of coin, right? Because in some ways, if we take a couple steps back, we know that these multinational IT corporations, that they have lobbying bodies in the states nearby Washington D.C., where they're actively lobbying that they get better deals on whatever, right? That the regulation really does fall into their way, and let's say I make $1 million. There's some tools I can apply, and 10 million, there will be a larger set of tools. 100 million, there will be a larger set of tools. But once you hit the billion mark, then that's when you start like equaling some of these countries, right? Some of these countries, their GDP is just a couple billion. So then now you're really thinking about it on a political level, and you're really trying to apply it on a political level. So in some ways, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or whatever these tools are, they are tools that allow certain politicians to come into power and certain politicians to not come into power, and they can really curb public perception. But it was just a matter of time where a company that has this political sway is gonna marry money with it, and then that I think that's what like really threatened the politicians more than anything, because the political factor was already there.
What I think is interesting is that Libra was launched without any single major bank behind it. I mean, there's a lot of other people, other parties in the consortium, but there was not a single financial. I mean, there are payment companies like PayPal or Braintree on board, but there's no bank on board of Libra. And what is also interesting is they did not get other large tech companies on board. So there's no Amazon, there's no Apple, there's no Google, there's no Netflix. So I think it's interesting because I think it's just a matter of time before the other FANGs start doing some sort of their own cryptocurrency as well. Maybe the same or maybe a completely different approach to how Libra is going around with their own coin. The other thing is we might even see like financial institutions, banks coming on board with the other tech companies all going their own chain. I mean, JP Morgan has sort of launched their JPM coin, but I haven't heard much from them since then. So yeah, these are my two interesting takeaways. There's no other banks and there's no other tech companies in the consortium. Let's see what happens next.
Right. I also think Amazon, Google, and all those other big companies will probably join the race in some way, right? Like you said. So maybe Libra will have a lot of issues. Then something else kind of similar comes up, but in a more compliant way or something, right? So I think the race is already started, and then also I feel like race between governments and countries like Iran, India, and China suddenly started kind of like being more accepting of Bitcoin, or like officially saying, oh, Bitcoin is not illegal. I think it's definitely part of it responding to Libra. So it's interesting that all those countries are starting to react to that now.
A question that I had about like, so when they talk about banking the unbanked and how this can become a political threat, I think that kind of draws attention from the regulators or from the investors, but I guess I didn't really see how Facebook envisioned Libra as being valuable to the average person. Meaning when the message "bank the unbanked" is, to me, it's virtue signaling.
Financial inclusion, right?
Yeah, financial inclusion, and talking about financial inclusion for most people, I think it's a matter of virtue signaling, because
I guess so.
yeah, I don't know. I really believe in financial inclusion at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in financial inclusion at like where it'd be like you take money from one group and give it to another group. You're just doing that, where unless you can like generate real value, or you have to solve like the last mile problem, etc., etc. But the reason Libra is, I don't know, what do you guys think it'll be for the average user, because they're already using Facebook? That do we automatically assume that Facebook is going to create something that's valuable?
So average users, right? Like in Japan, Korea, or maybe some other countries, I think it's good for them. They already trust Facebook and they use Facebook, so it's just more convenient. If I can post photos on Instagram and I can get paid in whatever the coin, people probably will like it, I think.
In my opinion, I think we talk about fintech and this finance in the 21st century, finance in the internet age. What we really want to do is we just want to send money or transfer value from one person to another. And if you really think about it, what we really want to do is just sending money should be as easy as sending an email. You just take like, select the person, select the amount and click send, like select Koji, $1 send. But if you think about it, it's actually pretty hard to do it right now. And especially when it goes cross-border, it's just so much pain to go through this process. And what Facebook is trying to do is trying to stop all this payment, trying to make, I mean, if you think about it, the grand scale thing is trying to make sending money as easy as sending an email. If you can send photographs and send email and all sorts of things that you can do online, but for many people, especially in developing countries, like sending money is not the easiest thing to do at this point in time. So I think that's what they are going after. Of course, I mean, digitization and making the cashless society is part of it. I think a good example would be to bring up a point in China. I was in Shenzhen in China about a couple weeks back. So I don't have WeChat Pay or Alipay, but my co-founder has WeChat Pay installed on his phone. So I felt like a complete foreign, like a guy from a farm, like a villager, like who just came to the city for the first time, because everything is basically transacted cashless. Like it's all paid using the phone. If I tried to pay like using cash in any of the coffee in the malls, like literally I'm probably the only person who pays by cash in the mall, in the shop, and the cashier probably doesn't have any change for the good that I want to purchase. So I probably need to give like exact change, because just nobody uses cash in China anymore. So I guess that's kind of the future. Like the future is here in China, but it's not the same for anywhere else in the world. Like people still goes around paying in cash in a lot of places. And for some places, like I went to Luckin Coffee, which is like the Starbucks competitor in China, and literally the only way to buy a coffee is to download the app and to order from the app, and then to pay directly from the app and collect it from the store from the barista in the store. And so obviously we didn't have an app, so the barista ordered it for us, but he doesn't want to receive cash, so you got to transfer it to his personal WeChat account and get your coffee there. So that was interesting to me, because I felt like a complete outcast. I felt unbanked without a digital bank account. Yeah.
Sure. But because you don't have a bank account in China, right?
Yeah.
I had the same issue in China as well. I cannot use Alipay or WeChat Pay or whatever, because it's associated with the bank account. So if you're visiting, it's just a horrible user experience.
But it also sounds kind of ostracizing in some ways, right? Because there should be alternative options. One of the things that Korea is experiencing a lot is when it comes to, like, we're slowly moving towards like we move for the most part into a cashless society, but older people still like that face-to-face encounter with people working at banks. And my grandma still doesn't understand how to do internet banking. She wants to go to the bank and withdraw some cash. And these older people need education, but they're not gonna change their ways. And at least in Korea, like the population is an inverse pyramid, where there's still the percentage of older people are still way larger than percentage of younger people. And these are the people with money, right? And so we're in like this catch-22 where if we, I don't know, if we move to cashless society too fast, it's very easy to leave people in the dust. And this has to be done at a global scale, right? That's basically what Libra's doing.
Yeah, so in that sense, I'm sort of pessimistic about Japan going cashless anytime soon, because just it's one of the most aged nations in the world. So older people cannot really, adopt to new technology or cashless. They're just too used to cash. And Japan's pretty cash dominated society. So is Taiwan, where I am now. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, whenever I go to Japan, I think I might have told you this last time, Coach. I'm just surprised at how it feels like in some ways I took a time machine and stepped back to like about a decade or 15
right
ago.
People kind of assume that Japan's this tech hub from the past impression, but it's not really, right?
Yeah, in terms of money, this seems like there hasn't been too much innovation.
Not at all. China's way advanced, way more advanced. So let's just talk about different topics, I guess. I'm kind of tired of talking about Libra all the time, because that's all people are interested in nowadays.
Can I just ask one more question?
Sure.
So why do you think there's a backlash on Libra but not on WeChat or WePay?
That's a good question. So I was surprised that at the hearing, I was so surprised everybody hated Facebook, basically. Hated it. Just don't trust it at all, right?
Yeah.
Let's say in Japan, I feel like Japanese people have more trust for Facebook than Americans now. It's kind of weird. I mean, it's just maybe media, and also Facebook had a lot of backlash on media before in terms of privacy, and so I guess that's why. So that's interesting that I don't really hear concerns about Facebook being private invasive or hated in Japan, right? Because people don't have that image about Facebook. But in the US, people hate Facebook now. So what do you guys think, Bobby?
Yeah, I think the launch of Libra came at a pretty bad time for Facebook. I mean, everyone, especially in the US, talking about a privacy issue and Facebook knowing what you spend and what you bought is even worse for privacy, right? Because then they just use that information to retarget you with all sort of advertisements based on the things that you purchased before. And there may be things that you purchase that you don't want Facebook to know, for example. And that is completely bad for privacy. So yeah, I guess that's one of the major reasons. And the second thing as well is, if you think about it, like Libra is not entirely backed one-to-one with the US dollar. So even if it's backed to some extent with Japanese yen, euro, and
pound.
British pound, yeah. So if you are if you are in the US, so instead of transacting with the US dollar only, like you are now using Libra, which is a percentage of which is held in US dollar. Let's just say like 70% of Libra is held in US dollar. So every dollar that you spend using Libra in the US, you are essentially just trading 70 cents on the dollar. So to some extent, the US government is sort of losing power, even though it's still 30%. And that's from the US point of view. From, let's say, if you live in like another country, for example, if you live in like Korea or Malaysia, for example, and then Libra gets really popular in this part of the world, it's really bad for the governments then, because people are essentially trading in a currency that is not Korean won or Malaysian ringgit. So that's really bad for the government, and they lose a lot of power in that sense. Right. Why they're not getting much of a backlash to WeChat? Well, I guess first is China, so like you can't really complain. And I guess WeChat, people in China they want a cashless payment system. Credit card isn't a isn't very common in China, and Alipay and WeChat Pay sort of went through that jump, and people in China went through the jump and went directly to digital payments using QR codes instead of credit cards. So I guess that's a difference in that sense. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, convenience outweighs the privacy issues, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yep. All right, let's talk about different stuff then.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about deregulation of Korean derivatives market, right? I didn't know about this. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I've been doing my due diligence into like why open finance or DeFi might be a viable thing. And I've been really, really into hyper localization. So instead of saying we are going to have one monetary system deployed in one way across all globes, and we're all going to use it exactly the same way, instead I started thinking about, let's say there is a network. Let's say there's the Bitcoin network, and then there's going to be different products or services that are built on top of this Bitcoin network. Now, per country, what is the best way for this kind of technology to be deployed, right? And so something interesting about Korea is that Korea is known for, first of all, retail investors cannot do forex trading. This is actually a
Oh,
pretty big thing. So this is in stark contrast with Japan, where retail investors can do forex trading, and the majority of from what I understand, the majority of the cryptocurrency volume coming from Japanese exchanges are forex traders who've crossed over to do crypto stuff.
True. That's
Yeah,
true. In terms of
yeah,
volume, yes.
yeah. So Korea, we don't. Yeah. So first of all, there's really tight capital control.
Mhm.
Second of all, is in terms of derivatives trading, so we're talking about like advanced financial products. There has been really, really heavy regulation starting from 2011, where in 2011, the number of foreigners investing into the Korean derivatives markets accounted for about 25% of the whole entire derivatives market. And Korea has a pretty big derivatives market. And now in 2019, they account for about 50%. So, which means Koreans do not invest in the derivatives market. And there's a very high threshold for being an accredited retail investor in the Korean derivatives market. So what I thought about like about a month and a half or 2 months ago was, hey, if I were to launch DeFi in Korea, I would definitely do like margin trading and derivatives, like crypto derivatives, because like that's the thing. And sites like BitMEX or OKX or these exchanges with futures, they confirmed this, that a lot of trading volume and interest does come from Korea.
Hmm.
But then what happened was about a month ago, the Korean FSC, the Financial Service Committee, they passed a new rule that says that they're going to loosen and deregulate the Korean derivatives market. So they said they were a little too tight on the Korean derivatives markets, and they're going to lower the threshold to which you become an accredited retail investor and both accredited institutional investor. Now, the report doesn't say this, but there is like a very, very high suspicion that this is coming as a result of cryptocurrency craze. That they realize that because of like if you over-regulate the derivatives market, then people are gonna just flock to something that's much more convenient. So on the one hand, you have like the Financial Services Commission coupled with the Korean exchange. And then on the other hand, you have BitMEX, right? And
Yep.
BitMEX, all it requires from you is your email, and then you could do 100x leverage. And to everybody, to most people, that sounds like a dream come true. It's just a far superior and frictionless financial product. So yeah, that was a regulation that was passed a month ago.
So what do you think is going to happen? So a lot of Korean traders at BitMEX, for example, go back to that Korean market.
Nah,
No,
nah.
you don't think so?
Yeah, because there's also a macro thing of like just the market stagnating and suffering. You know, there's the U.S. China trade wars, and then there's been, I don't know if you know about it, Koji, but like Korea's been trying to boycott Japan
Oh,
and
really?
export.
Recently?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. I, bro, I don't know. I really honestly don't follow politics. I think.
Okay. Nah, we're still friends though. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, this was just interesting because I guess the insight that this provided for me was if you're about to launch a crypto product, you should actually look around the world to find product market fit, because there is like investment opportunity arbitrage or like regulatory arbitrage, where even like financial regulation, there are certain products that are more attractive in one region versus another. You want to go into the regions that are, first of all, like big enough, right? Like where the markets are profitable enough. But second of all, where whatever product you have is going to work to your benefit.
It's interesting. It's interesting that the Korean government has chosen to loosen the derivative markets there. It was good timing, I would say. From our point of view here, we've been observing that there's a lot of new exchanges being launched focusing on the derivative markets. This could be new exchanges focusing purely on futures and swaps. or just old exchanges adding on margin trading, like Binance adding on margin, or KuCoin launching its own derivative exchange called KuMax. I guess, I mean, don't ask me why. Like, I mean, why these guys are suddenly doing it at this point in time. If you think about it, BitMEX is not exactly a new exchange. It's been operating since like 5 years right now. And OKX futures have been conducting swaps for around the same time as well. These two are like the two biggest derivative markets. But everyone, all of a sudden in 2019, just chose to set up their own derivative markets. It's interesting that all these guys, I mean, I guess they finally saw how much money BitMEX is making, and they want a piece of the pie, seeing how that market's not really picking up. So my take is that a lot of these exchanges, they're seeing slower growth in the spot market, and they need to make more money from the existing user base that they have. And one way to make more money is to offer them like more sophisticated products like margins and derivative, because then users are more likely to not understand what the product is and start trading and start losing more money, therefore making the exchange more money.
I know. People don't understand this. One thing I realized looking into that as well. I mean, I don't understand like complex derivatives as well, right? So I was like looking into it, and I asked some people around, "Hey, how does this work?" Right? Some supposed traders, they don't actually really know what the rules are as well.
You just bet 100x and pray at the price go up, and you're on the right direction. Otherwise, you get a wreck. You lose all your money.
Right. So the other thing I want to mention is it's interesting that all those exchanges and Korean government is trying to deregulate derivatives market, right? But the Japanese government, it's actually going the other way. So Bitcoin used to offer, I think, 20 times leverage. Now it's lower to max 4 times, I believe. So the derivatives market, futures market trading volumes going down for Japan, and people are leading to BitMEX and probably other foreign derivatives, crypto derivatives market. So it's going the other way.
Is that Bitflyer in Japan?
Bitflyer, right?
Bitflyer used to be a very big derivative market in Japan, right?
They used to be number 1 in the world in terms of trading volume, but now they're like number 3 or 4 for futures market.
I mean, that's a sensible thing to do from a government, to limit how much leverage a user can take. Like 5x is probably about right. 100x is just purely gambling.
But US regulators now probing BitMEX as well, so we don't know what's going to happen to them as well. It's another thing.
Yeah, subpoena. Man, but I don't know what's the leverage for the stock derivatives market. Do you know, Koji? Japan?
In Japan, I don't know. I've never traded in Japanese stock market.
Okay. I have no idea how much is the margin either over here. I mean, I know there's margin, but I don't know how much margin you can take on stock. How much is the leverage? I mean, in the new crypto regulation in Korea and in stock market in comparison?
I think that was like 5x.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Not 100 times.
Yeah, and then institutions get a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, so Japan's 4 times leverage max is kind of reasonable, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. It's just BitMEX and others are kind of going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
But it's see, the thing about this is that we can say like crypto is supposed to be global from day one, but the problem is that even as it stands right now, not like, let's say I'm the citizen of Korea, I am not able to have access to all the complicated, like advanced financial services products that the institutional investors get access to. Like I guess that's the part that I don't really quite understand. You know, like am I that dumb? Like, am I supposed to
consumer protection?
They're protected, yeah, but I never asked for protection. Like, come on.
Well, if you are a smart, responsible trader or person, it's just in your way. But at the same time, I see a lot of people who cannot take that responsibility and lose all their money to BitMEX or something, right?
And what happens when you lose all your money? You go to the politician and make a complaint, and then they say, why is the government not trying to protect? So it's better for the government to put in place laws to protect people before they get complaints on the door saying that they are not protected enough from this sophisticated product. you know what it's like. Like everybody loves to complain whenever something goes wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
The second news is that I want to talk about is Bithumb M&A. So there's several pieces to this. So there has been rumors that Bitham's gonna get bought out, right? And there's
Okay.
this giant scandal behind it where the company that bought Bithumb, the plastic surgery company that bought Bithumb, wanted to buy a company that wasn't even pre-IPO, that was overvalued to make up for a deficit that they had. And then the court like overturned this, so Bithumb's like out on the market again. But then the rumor is that a certain Chinese exchange that starts with the letter H is gonna buy them out.
H. Okay.
But what the thing here is that when they uncover some of the data and stuff, Bithumb trading volume, only 2% of their reported trading volume is real. Now, I would really like Bobby's opinion on this. So
Oh yeah.
this is like just like someone from the inside just letting me know. And I wanted to know like with the data that you made up, like what percent of the trading volume for Bithumb is
Hang on.
fake.
Let me take a look at Bithumb
Yeah.
specifically.
That'll
I'm
be
just trying to pull. I don't monitor Bithumb very closely, but yeah, okay, I saw it now. So on our side, we say Bithumb is doing about $778 million in daily trading volume. If we sort them by the reported trading volume, okay, that's pretty high. But they only get on average about 1.8 million page views per month. So that's actually pretty low. So based on our trust score formula, we actually normalize their volume based on the traffic. And if we normalize them, we say that they get about 56 million daily trading volume in the last 24 hours. So it's actually a pretty big difference if you compare Bithumb's average daily trading volume compared to some of the bigger exchanges in the world. So yeah, I guess I have reasons to believe that a lot of the volume is probably fabricated or
Yeah.
According to that, it's just more than 90% of the trading volumes.
Yeah,
made
it's
up.
about like the 50 bill out of 778 is like about 7%. So
yeah, I mean,
90
it's hard to check, but like, yeah, I mean, reporting 700, close to $800 million in daily trading volume, but having very little visitors to the website is a bit suspicious to begin with. I mean, yeah, they may argue that more Korean users use the app, but it still doesn't justify, I would say. So maybe your source is right. Like 98% of the trading volume is fabricated and only 2% is real.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, yeah, the Korean exchange has been having a lot of trouble. Like Corbit, so there's like 7 major Korean exchanges, major. So that's like Upbit, Koinon, GoPack, CPDAX, Hanbiko, Bithumb, and Corbit. So Bithumb is out. It is not a major exchange anymore.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Corbit, by major exchange, what I mean is they had a virtual account. I think I told you this ago. Virtual account and Beehive account. And then Bithumb with their financial situations and stuff, they're probably gonna either sell the rights to their virtual account or gonna get acquired. The other thing is Corbit. So Corbit has been part of this like voice phishing thing, and they lost a whole bunch of their customers, or a whole bunch of their customers lost money. So Corbit, with their legacy system, it's likely that they got their virtual accounts taken away. They're fighting to get it back, but if they can't do that, there's no direct KRW to like crypto trading that can happen. Yeah,
I didn't know. I always thought that still Bithumb and Corbit are more respected Korean exchanges, right? But it's not the case anymore.
Bithumb. No offense to people who I know at working at Bithumb, but they're predatory, man. No joke.
They were the largest Korean exchange, a while ago, a couple of years ago, at least, right?
Thanks to the Ripple trading volume.
Right. And then, but they occasionally get goxed, and
occasionally, it almost seems like systemically planned.
Yeah.
It almost seems like an inside job, like.
Yeah, this is their 5th time getting goxed or something like that. So I'm like, okay, Vietnam again.
So what's interesting?
By the way, you wanna go ahead? One last thing I wanted to share. I was forgetting about it. It's crazy, but BitPoint, one of Japanese licensed exchanges, got hacked this month. It was like a couple weeks ago, but I almost forgot about it. It's crazy.
A license exchange.
Licensed, and it's pretty interesting what happened. So they lost like $30 million approximately in their hot wallet hack, right? But they're licensed, and an interesting thing is that they got hacked 2 weeks after supposedly they've done their tasks and got their, so they were getting operation improvement order or something. And then recently the FSA, the regulator, basically said, okay, you've done your job and you're clear now, right? And then 2 weeks later they got doxxed, they got hacked. So that was kind of bad on the regulator, I guess. But I feel like the impact on the industry is minimal. One, they're paying back the investors, so there's no damage to users, and they're going to continue their operation. And I think the damage to the industry impact is minimal. So that's why I kind of forgot about it already. But it was kind of big in Japan.
Another day, another hack. Not your keys, not your coins. That's what they say.
Exactly. Right? I mean, for us, we are so used to all those hacks and hacking incidents. So it's like, okay, just another one. But mainstream media were covering it. They had a press conference. So, but I think they dealt with it more or less professionally, I would say. Yep. So I forgot about it. That's crazy. I forgot.
I think probably the most people watch our show for the industry, exchange hacks, exchange related news and regulation stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, same here. Like I do a monthly show, and then in that show, there's a monthly GOG series. Oh, so this month, Bithumb got hacked or something like that. It's like every month there's something. So
yeah.
Has there ever been a month where there hasn't been a hack, Koji?
There has been.
Oh,
so
wow.
I made a promise. If we have 3 months of no,
that's impossible.
I'm gonna sunset this. I'm gonna sunset this corner, and then like, no, it's ongoing. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's I think that's all that we have time for today.
Yep.
Yeah. The report you want to go through very quickly, the last 10 minutes?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah. The coin.
So let me just share the screen. Let me share the screen right now. Yeah. Can you see my screen right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, one last thing before we end the show. I mean, we published our quarterly crypto report recently. So a bunch of 46 pages of crypto updates. So do take a look. In here, we talk about the market up. It's been a very interesting quarter too. I mean, price has been going up. A bunch of other stats over here. We talking about exchanges. We actually track the hacks in Q2. First half of the year, Binance, Cryptopia, GitHub, Bithumb getting hacked, Bitrue getting hacked in June for the first time. And a bunch of exchanges shutting down actually. All the Indian exchanges shut down because of the regulations. Coin Delta, Coinomi, CoinX. I don't know if you guys remember Gatecoin from Hong Kong.
I remember Gatecoin. Yeah.
They've been struggling for a long time. They finally shut down. Quadriga, we all know about it. Cryptopia got hacked and then shut down. Liqui as well. I mean, I used to trade on Liqui as well back in those days, but they shut down. Couple of exit scams, BitSane, CoinRoom. Every month there must be something. Someone's either getting hacked, someone's shutting down, or someone's doing an exit scam.
Right.
In terms of exchanges, it's been a very interesting year and a half. We now track 347 exchanges. Actually, since the start of July, we track over 356 right now. In the last year and a half, we added 300 exchanges on CoinGecko. That's just insane number of exchanges that came on board onto CoinGecko in the last year and a half. We look into the Binance hack. We talked about this in the previous show, so I won't talk about it now, but it's all in the report. Binance DEX launch on top of the Binance chain. That was interesting. Trust score is something which I kind of used just now to explain, to look at the Bithumb trading volume, how we look at Bithumb having close to $800 million in daily trading volume. But if you look at their web traffic, there's barely any web traffic. So we're going to normalize them down. We also simplify them by looking at the spread and the depth, and then give them a traffic light score over here. there's some slides on Libra. So if you don't know what Libra is yet, I mean, you can check it out all here. IEO is interesting. So we took some screenshot, some information on IEO, and you see that Gate did a lot. Gate, Binance, OKX, and Huobi did a lot of IEOs. Gate and Bit4 each did 8 IEOs in the first half of the year.
Is it still a thing, IEO? Is it fading away, or?
I'm surprised, because to be honest, I thought IEO is going to be like a short-term 2-3 months thing, but it seems like it's been going on for some time, and I don't know when things will end.
Okay.
I guess if it's on Binance has sort of built up its own a reputation that look at it. If you bought any of these IEOs on Binance, you probably made about 500% return for the IEOs on average. So to a lot of people, it's kind of like guaranteed way of making money if you are lucky enough to buy an IEO. So if they can consistently do it, I think interest will be maintained to a large extent. Everybody wants to be on Binance Launchpad and want to launch in Binance, because why not, right?
Right.
Yeah, but that's not to say that all exchanges. So to a large extent, I would say that IEOs will stay, but it depends on which exchange it will be on. It's on. So if you're on Binance, yeah, you're good. But some exchanges, you just lose most of your money. Look at this chart over here, the ones like Coinbase, CoinSuper, ABCC, Bigo. You lose 80% of the IEO value.
ABCC 97%. That's crazy.
There's a crypto venture on top of a crypto venture.
Oh yeah, now you mentioned it. I remember the CoinDesk article on fake volume, right? And it was very, very interesting what the university student in Russia basically were doing to fake volume on various exchanges.
Yeah.
And then another thing that was interesting is that they said okay, we're done. Regulators coming and it's our business is basically over. But now they're moving on to IEO or something, they said. So maybe some of the prices are manipulated or volume, etc.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of market making going around, which is a pseudonym for
market making getting a bad rep.
So
yeah,
that's interesting. IEO is still a thing to me. Okay.
We got a section on Lightning Network over here. Things are going pretty well for Lightning Network. Since the start of the year, number of nodes has more or less doubled in terms of, and then capacity as well, almost doubled as well. A bunch of things happening, and then we took a quick look about the decentralized application markets and look a bit about RSK. So yeah, that's pretty much the CoinGecko Q2 report. Go to coingecko.com and take a look at the report if you're interested.
Okay,
yes,
sounds good.
All right.
And I understand that time is flying by because of these reports that you cover. Otherwise, I wouldn't know.
I know, it's 3 months ago, but it feels like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, it almost seems like I just did my first report yesterday, but
pretty much, yeah.
Every quarter just comes by really quickly in crypto.
Right. Yep. True. All right, cool. So let's just do this show again, probably next month.
Yep.
Yep. Right. So I'm looking forward to just talking with the guys more stuff next month. Things every month there's something weird going on there,
Yep. There's always something to talk.
Right, exactly. All right, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you guys later then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.